I need everyone to just take a moment and listen to this. This should have been broadcast everywhere yesterday. I saw it on Twitter, but not enough people saw this. You all need to hear this. Check this out.
Many Americans are asking, why did the United States have to attack Iran now? Well, let me explain. Iran wants to have nuclear weapons. Of that, there is zero doubt. If what they truly wanted, which is what they claim, is nuclear energy, well, they could have nuclear energy like all the other countries in the world have it. And that is, you import the fuel and you build reactors above ground. That's not what Iran has done. They build their reactors and their facilities deep in mountains, away from the public glare, and they want to enrich that material. The same equipment that they could use to enrich material for energy, they could use to quickly enrich it to weapons grade. So it is clear that they've been offered every opportunity to have a nuclear program that allows them to have energy, not weapons, and every single time they have turned it down. But why the attack now? Well, what was Iran trying to do? Iran was trying to build a conventional shield, in essence, have so many missiles, have so many drones that no one could attack them, and they were well on their way. We were on the verge of an Iran that had so many missiles and so many drones that no one could do anything about their nuclear weapons program in the future. That was an intolerable risk. This was our last best chance to eliminate that conventional threat, that conventional shield that they were trying to build, and the president made the right decision to wipe it out now.
Yes.
Hello Patriots, I'm at Restored Republic via a GCR update for Saturday, April the 4th, 2026, compiled by Judy Byington. It's Liberation Day in America. President Donald Trump on Friday, April 3rd, 2026. Worldwide blackout. Trump goes ahead for massive global military operation with EVS activation. Thousands of elites set to be arrested. On Tuesday, March 3rd, 2026, Trump declared the U.S. a sovereign constitutional republic under common law with admiralty law oppression no longer legal. On Wednesday, April 1st, Trump released the gold asset-backed global currency reset. Corrupt cabal banks across the world were now set to collapse, including 63 major U.S. banks and tens of thousands of small banks across the globe. Withdraw your money now. Judy note, on Thursday, March 5th, President Donald J. Trump invoked Article 2 to declare the United States fully sovereign under common law. The fake foreign-controlled U.S. Inc. was finished. No more admiralty law oppression, no more globalist chains dragging us into debt and war. The deep state grip has been broken. The true constitutional republic rises triumphant. All flag officers have been ordered to convene in Virginia, the republic's sacred cradle, for immediate realignment. This was full military mobilization to restore loyalty and eliminate globalist remnants. The timeline is set, orders issued, clock running. Unity under true command is happening now. Common law grand juries have activated nationwide, forcing the entire two-tiered justice system to dissolve and restore in the republic under we the people. The National Liberty Alliance has filed a writ quo warrant to be served on every treasonous judge, bar, attorney, congressman, sheriff, and media outlet across all 50 states to be tried under constitutional common law. The people were officially free. On Friday, April 3rd, President Trump signed Nasara Jasara into law, making it retroactive to 1st of January 2026, meaning the people now had control of the global financial system, not the corrupt deep state cabal central banks. The reset on January 1st, 2026 will be known as the day freedom began, Trump said. And there's the link, commentary Baron Trump on X, breaking news. President Trump just signed the Nassar reset bill. You won't see this in mainstream media as they prefer to keep you in debt and struggling. Stay informed and share the truth. That's a post from X. The new U.S. Treasury note, official directive, global currency reset, and mandatory QFS migration, U.S. Department of the Treasury. Satan-worshipping, child-sacrificing bank cartels have long controlled governments and global financial systems operating through Wall Street, the Federal Reserve, and manipulation of inflation, interest rates, and trade. Powerful elite networks have used national debt, trade deals, and market fear to maintain control for their own profit and their own benefit. This corrupt system is now failing, and the new global financial system is taking its place. A transfer of wealth and power away from the Satan-worshipping cabal and back to the people. Friday, April 3rd, because of the global currency reset to gold asset-backed currencies that took place on Wednesday, April 1st, 2026, there were 63 major U.S. banks and tens of thousands of small banks across the globe not Basel III compliant and on the verge of collapse, with $517 billion in losses. It was advised to withdraw your monies now. Your bank account has been mirrored onto the new global financial system and was actually safe, but the monies may not be available for a couple of weeks. In the interim, banks, credit, debit cards, and ATMs will not function. You will need cash. President Trump, the Q movement, BRICS nations, and the Global Military Alliance have been working on the restored republic via a global currency reset since the time of President Lincoln's assassination, but more seriously since President Kennedy's assassination. The morning of Trump's first inauguration in 2016, he paid a visit to CIA headquarters, where the president-elect declared a war on child sex trafficking. Trump then hired U.S. Attorney General for Utah, John Huber, and 730 investigators to clean up Congress. In 8 months alone, between November 2017 and June 2018, there were 40,483 sealed indictments filed, a little over 5,000 per month. Grand juries were called in various states to handle all the judicial paperwork for the thousands of upcoming military tribunals. Santa Trump on X. The corrupt Satan-worshipping deep state cabal's control began to seriously break down with the January 2026 release of intelligence upon the arrest of Venezuela President Maduro, Monday, January 5th, 2026. There's a link to Byington bombshell report, CIA new U.S. voting machines made for fraud, dollar collapse, market meltdown, bank runs, 60 senators to be charged for protecting cartels, blackout imminent, be prepared. The New Year's Day, January 1st, 2026, U.S. arrest of Venezuela President Maduro and company harvested the intel of the century, mainly from Venezuelan intel chief Hugo Carvajal Barrios. Carvajal was a 3-star general and former chief of military intelligence under Hugo Chavez and Nicolas Maduro. Now in U.S. custody, he recently pleaded guilty to narco-terrorism while revealing, "I will expose the entire drug cartel and human trafficking network from South America to your Senate floor." And he did. Carvajal confessed that the Smartmatic voting machines used by many states in U.S. elections were built for fraud, that the CIA knew all about it, and at least 60 U.S. senators have been bought off by and were making millions from the narco-terror regime. The official list of 60 U.S. senators who received millions via Venezuela Maduro regime drug cartels and by selling their influence to protect foreign criminal regimes. See #A below. In addition to Maduro's arrest, New Year's Day, January 1st, 2026, also saw the launch of the gold asset-backed quantum financial system, the greatest wealth transfer in human history. QFS having revalued currencies of over 200 countries and marking the end of old fiat financial bondage. Monday, December 2nd, 2019. Clinton's alleged child rapes and murders exposed in FISA report. A video of Hillary Clinton and her assistant, Huma Aberdeen, torturing and killing a young girl was said found on file in Clinton's private server, according to New York police detectives. Unfortunately, you could add those police detectives' untimely deaths to a list of 56 deaths allegedly connected to the Clintons. Treason, extortion, connections to Jeffrey Epstein's pedophile island, and the rape and torture of children appeared to be business as usual for former U.S. President Bill and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. All was being investigated for an explosive FISA abuse report that began with recovery of those Clinton emails and private server right after President Trump took office back in January 2016. That FISA abuse report was now scheduled to be released on Monday, December 9, 2019. Author of the report, Inspector General Michael Horowitz, would be testifying before the Senate Judiciary Committee a few days later on Wednesday, December 11, 2019. One such case was that of investigative reporter and retired police officer Jenny Moore. On August 16, 2018, Moore was found dead just weeks after reporting Bill Clinton to the FBI and Department of Homeland Security for allegedly raping a boy in a satanic rites. In this video, the young man gave chilling details of his rape, plus the torture and murder of children by Clinton and other elites. On Tuesday, November 19, 2019, the alleged child rape by Bill Clinton was exposed, though of course not picked up by the mainstream media. That same day was believed to be the beginning of arrests of high-profile individuals that perhaps included the Clintons. U.S. Attorney General from Utah, John Huber, and his 240 investigators had filed over 144,000 sealed indictments on political and global elites in federal courts across the nation since President Trump took office in 2016. In other news, from the mid-'80s until 2020, a Democrat federal judge made it illegal for Republicans to be poll watchers in such vote-changing places like Atlanta, Georgia, Detroit, Michigan, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. It was only after the judge's death that the injunction was no longer upheld. For centuries, the Rothschilds and Rockefellers have used their fake fiat U.S. dollars to steal land, oil, and farms from poor countries, then send phantom payments through their now-defunct SWIFT system, appearing legitimate, prompting governments to sign over valuable assets in exchange. The deceptive tactics have devastated countries across Africa and Latin America. Loans conjured from thin air through central bank tricks lead to insurmountable debts. Trump's exposure of these scams has led to the cabal's leverage crumbling and resources returned to rightful owners as the New World Order falls. And we have 3 links. Friday, April 3rd, situation update, We the People News. Friday, April 3rd, situation update, boom, Judy Byington bombshell report. Restored Republic via a GCR update for Friday, April 3rd, AMG News. And Friday, April 3rd, Byington bombshell report, 10 to 12 day global lockdown. Under martial law, air rail travel suspended while Global Alliance arrests child sex perpetrators. Before its news. Emergency Broadcast System Activation. Friday, April 3rd, 2026, breaking. EBS protocols have been engaged. Prepare your homes for the coming darkness. 10 days where the light of truth will shine through EBS broadcasts. The clock strikes midnight on the old world. Military tribunals were underway in underground bunkers. Stay indoors when called. consciousness, enslavement. Old systems of government, education, finance, health, trade, and commerce, etc., will all be dismantled and replaced. We will have new currency called the USN, US note, and gold-backed. The time is now to alert as many who will listen. Do not have too much pride. Go warn those you love, even though they think you're crazy. Your goal for others is truly to help absorb the shock of what is coming. Friday, April 3rd, we know that something powerful will take down the Mossad Media satellite emergency broadcast system on Telegram. This will cause a worldwide communications blackout, transitioning us to a quantum system. This is called Project Odin. In essence, it provides a reason to activate military EBS. Project Odin will go together with the EAS EBS. It is a military unit that supervises military forces in ground operations. During the EBS, every major media channel on the planet will be shut down. The documentaries will be broadcast for 10 days. All the channels on the planet will be taken over by the Alliance. Everything will be revealed. Political institutions, famous, religious. The final 3 days will reveal suppressed extraterrestrial life, patents, and the new Earth. Prepare for the most dramatic change in modern history when the military emergency broadcast system emerges, signaling a new era of truth, justice, and liberation. Possible timing on February 20th, 2026. Congress passed the Quantum Financial Settlement Act. In a historic midnight session, Congress officially passed the Quantum Financial Settlement Act, QFSA-2026. This legislation formally delists the Federal Reserve note as legal tender and recognizes the QFS gold bill as the only authorized physical currency for the restored republic, signed by President Trump. The act was set to go into effect on Wednesday, April 1st, 2026. On Wednesday, April 1st, the global currency reset and Nassara-Jassara laws activated across 209 nations, erasing debts, ending IRS, launching prosperity funds, and wiping out all illegitimate debts from the deep state bankers. Black Swan event triggers a new golden age. Prosperity funds released. Trump's sovereign treasury replaces the collapsed Federal Reserve. No more income taxes, only tariffs and fair sales tax. The cabal's financial empire crumbles as the gold-backed QFS goes live. On Friday to Sunday, 3rd, 4th, 5th of April, the $2,000 tariff dividend checks to go out to U.S. citizens age 18 and older. A month event for the next 3 years. Saturday, April 4th, EBS alert, the global blackout in all countries of the world will be on 4/4/2026. It will be in conjunction with the EBS emergency broadcast system, martial law and mass arrests of pedophiles by the military, buy food, toilet paper, and medicine. This is a real alert. This is not a test. Web 3.0 ISO 20022 on Telegram. Monday, April the 6th, Black Swan event. Petrodollar comes to an end. Global financial crash, prosperity, payments, and Jassara wealth drops begin. Wounded veterans and rescued dumb children move to the front for healing as the golden age accelerates. Jassara prosperity payments begin pouring into approved projects, empowering we the people to rebuild our republic. Tuesday, April 7th, 2026, Quantum Financial System announcement. On Wednesday, April 8th, 2026, MedVeds activate worldwide and secure military facilities, prioritizing vaccine-damaged patriots, wounded veterans, and rescued children. Advanced alien-derived technology reverses aging, cures thousands of conditions, including spectrum disorders, and downloads irrefutable proof of elite atrocities straight into tribunal databases. Treatments target vaccine-damaged patriots, regenerate limbs, reverse aging processes, and even capture holographic recordings of every satanic ritual and child trafficking crime committed by the elites, while holographic scans download elite ritual abuse footage into tribunal databases, proving satanic networks, evidence that will seal their fate in public tribunals. On Monday, April 13th, free medbed access expands globally, destroying Big Pharma's monopoly forever. Humanitarian projects funded by Zim Redemptions ensure every patriot receives healing as their divine right. Thursday, April 16th, the EBS emergency broadcast system will begin in every country of the world. Friday, April 17th to Saturday, April 18th, Project Sandman, U.S. dollar crash was expected to kick off. And Thursday, April 23rd, Q clock will strike the 00 marker. On Saturday, April 18th, 2026, medbed centers open in communities everywhere, alongside free energy technologies empowering full independence from the old control grid. On Tuesday, April 21st, holographic evidence from medbed sessions floods the courts, sealing the fate of the satanic cabal as mass arrests accelerate under martial law. On July 4th, 2026, Trump's epic independence celebration marks the complete rebirth of the Republic, with QFS operational and medbeds freely available to all. The Great Awakening reaches its peak as freedom, justice, and miraculous healing dawn for humanity. Global financial system. Friday, April 3rd, big banks will soon collapse. A system not built to serve the people, but to control and keep them in debt. QFS Redemption Center on Telegram. The bank cartels of long-controlled governments and the global financial system, operating through Wall Street, the Federal Reserve, and manipulation of inflation, interest rates, and trade. The national debt, trade deals, and market fear have been used as tools to maintain control. Behind it all stand powerful networks of elites who have shaped the system for their own benefit. But that structure is now being challenged. Wall Street and the big banking system are described as reaching a breaking point. As this old fiat system weakens, many believe a new financial structure will take its place, one that aligns with Nasara Jasara principles of fairness, transparency, and restoration. This moment is being seen as the beginning of a major shift, a transfer of wealth and power away from the controlled systems and back toward the people. The message being shared is not fear, but preparation, awareness, and understanding that change is coming. The old system falls, the new system rises. Nasara Jasara is at the center of that transition. Guru Information and Intel. Thursday, April 2nd, Blitz attack. They never saw it coming. Quantum connected on Telegram. Patriots, the deep state is an absolute meltdown as President Trump's Blitz attack unleashes moves the global cabal never saw coming. During a high-voltage live broadcast, Truth Warrior Sheila delivered explosive revelations that have QAnons fired up and the enemy scrambling in panic. Sheila shared stunning updates just before heading to a massive Florida event this weekend. There, teaming with Juan Savin and top speakers, she spotlighted quantum medicine, breakthroughs, and suppressed inventions set to rocket humanity 500 years ahead. Hidden tech promises an end to big pharma poisons, endless surgeries and side effects, while sleek flying cars, compact egg-shaped vehicles that lift off like advanced motorcycles, stand poised to revolutionize travel and shatter elite control forever. Military forces surge forward in perfect coordination. Camp Pendleton troops loaded up and deployed toward the Middle East, alongside the 82nd Airborne backing Trump's final Iran negotiations. The tyrannical IRGC regime faces total collapse as ancient Persia reawakens to its true Christian roots after centuries of stoning and street slaughter. Israel delivered precision strikes against key threats, with full U.S. support proving the unbreakable alliance is dismantling deep state proxies right now in April 2026. No endless wars, just targeted cleanup, delivering real freedom to the region. Juan Savin operates from Las Vegas, ripping open California's trillion-dollar school bond scam that funneled citizen money straight into elite slush funds. Corrupt Getty-linked officials built illegal-only schools, fired English-speaking teachers, and violated the state constitution while demanding endless tax hikes. Patriots demand immediate audits and full restitution as this fraud unravels, signaling trillions returning to we the people under the reset. Trump's strategic brilliance dominates the Strait of Hormuz crisis. Bloomberg charts confirm how the president invoked the War Powers Act, uncapped domestic rigs, and locked massive $500 billion deals with Japan while starving China of Venezuelan oil at fair prices. The Strait's U-turn trap left globalists isolated. Cuba's dictator folded into negotiations within hours, and NATO died on arrival. America reclaims energy independence and prioritizes the Western Hemisphere in a masterstroke that leaves enemies powerless. Tribunals accelerate toward Valhalla at lightning speed. The National Liberty Alliance filed a writ quo warranto, served on every treasonous judge, bar attorney, congressman, sheriff, and media outlet across all 50 states. Common law grand juries activate nationwide, forcing the entire two-tier justice system to dissolve and restoring the republic under we the people. The diseased temple of corruption falls biblically as traitors face justice they never imagined. Demasking operations explode as deep state puppets vanish hours after leaks expose top secret transfers. Clones and doubles fail publicly while biblical truths connect ancient battles to today's victory over satanic forces that targeted believers for 4,000 years, with Trump calling National Prayer Weeks ahead of the 250th anniversary rededication. The Great Awakening surges stronger than ever. Save the children. Did you know that the Red Cross was owned by the Rothschilds? Did you know that the Red Cross was a child trafficking, organ trafficking, adrenochrome, and money laundering organized crime network? Friday, April 3rd, 2026, Hollywood child megastar Justin Bieber just declared war. He has vowed to hunt down and kill the pedophiles who abused him as a child. The same creeps and pedophiles who preyed on him as a child are now in his crosshairs. He's done playing games. No more coded messages in his lyrics. No more subtle signals. He's laying it out loud. He's coming for them. Quantum Connected on Telegram. President Trump's FDA is finally abolishing inhumane treatment and testing of animals. Let's not forget about Dr. Fauci's taxpayer-funded sick experiments like sandflies tied down beagles' faces with their oh my gosh, I can hardly read this. Vocal cords removed, transgender lab rats poisoned puppies. Worst of all, his experiments with foster children. He's so evil. From 1992 to 2004, Fauci's NIH-funded toxic experimental AIDS drug trials on hundreds of foster orphans across 7 states. Many were never confirmed HIV positive. Legal guardian rules were bypassed when New York City Child Services acted as both guardian and approver. Children who resisted had feeding tubes surgically inserted against their will. Over 189 died and were buried in a mass grave covered by AstroTurf. Pfizer, Merck, and others participated and declined comment. With Biden's pardons now null and void, it's time to prosecute Fauci for these crimes against humanity. I think Russia wants him as well. I think a lot of countries want him. The forgotten orphans deserve justice. This is just one great part of the Maha agenda, to make the world a better place and stop experimenting on people and animals. X.com. Friday, April 3rd, between 1854 and 1929, over 250,000 children were shipped across America by train. They called them orphans, but most of them had parents. They were taken from cities, loaded onto trains, sent to farms and families across the country, given new names, new identities, new histories, no DNA tests, no records, no questions asked. The official story, it was charity. The children needed homes, 250,000 children in 75 years, and nobody asked where they came from. Here's what they don't tell you. These children arrived in waves right after the mud flood, right after entire cities were destroyed, right after the Tartarian civilization was erased. These weren't orphans, these were Tartarian children. Cue the storm rider on Telegram. On Friday, April 3rd, boom, Jim Caviezel's truth bombs have stirred up a storm that cannot be easily ignored. Adrenochrome, child trafficking, and the shadows of power. Benjamin Fulford on Telegram. In a stunning revelation that is rocking the foundations of the deep state, actor Jim Caviezel has unleashed truth bombs in late March 2026 that the global cabal cannot contain. His fearless exposure of adrenochrome harvesting, elite child trafficking networks, and the shadowy intelligence apparatus protecting them has ignited a firestorm among patriots everywhere. The Great Awakening is accelerating at warp speed, and the house of cards built by these satanic elites is collapsing before our eyes. Jim Caviezel, who portrayed the heroic Tim Ballard in Sound of Freedom, has stepped forward once more as a beacon of unfiltered truth. He has laid bare the horrifying reality that adrenochrome, extracted from the terror and blood of tortured children, is more addictive and potent than heroin. This demonic substance fuels the twisted rituals and unnatural longevity of Hollywood power brokers, Washington insiders, and globalist overlords who view innocent kids as nothing more than commodities in their sick empire. The actor has connected the dots directly to the open southern border crisis engineered under the Biden regime, where unaccompanied minors disappeared by the thousands into the hands of cartels and elite buyers. These children are funneled through a vast trafficking pipeline that stretches from cartel strongholds straight into the boardrooms of the powerful, with full protection from corrupt intelligence networks that have operated in the dark for decades. Epstein's Island was only the tip of the iceberg, and Caviezel's words confirm that what QAnons have known all along. This is the real war for humanity, and the deep state is panicking. Their fake news mouthpieces are in full damage control mode, desperately trying to smear Caviezel as they scramble to hide the adrenochrome labs and the ritual sacrifice dens hidden in plain sight. But the White Hats are 10 steps ahead, and the military alliance has been monitoring every move. The storm President Trump prophesied is here now, sweeping away the traitors who sold out America's children for power and profit. Patriots are rising like never before, sharing these explosive revelations across every platform the cabal tries to censor. The links to Mossad and CIA black ops protecting the elite pedophile rings are finally out in the open, and justice is coming faster than the enemy can react. Mass arrests are imminent, with tribunals already prepared for the worst offenders in Hollywood, government, and beyond. The children will be rescued, and the monsters will face their reckoning, and the Republic will be restored under the divine plan of Nasara and Gesara. As we stand on the brink of total victory in early April 2026, Jim Caviezel's courage is lighting the fuse that will detonate the entire shadow government. The elites thought their secrets would stay buried forever, but the Great Awakening has turned their worst nightmare into reality, Every trafficked child saved brings the end of their reign closer, and nothing, absolutely nothing, can stop what is coming. The light of truth is exposing every last rat in the shadows of power, and the patriots are winning bigger than ever imagined. Stay strong, stay vigilant, and watch the dominoes fall. The best is yet to come for those who have fought for the children all along.
Essentially, you have adrenaline in your body. I'll just simplify it. And when you are scared, you produce adrenaline. If a child knows he's going to die, his body will secrete the adrenaline. It's the worst horror I've ever seen, is screaming alone, even if I never, ever saw it. It's beyond, and these people that do it, there'll be no mercy for them.
What we think we know as of Saturday, April 4th, 2026. On Friday, April 3rd, 2026, the White House in Washington, D.C. turned red, signifying mass arrests. Donald J. Trump on Telegram. Friday, April 3rd, Colin McDonald, Assistant Attorney General for National Fraud Enforcement. I will work tirelessly day after day to ensure that if someone out there dares to steal your taxpayer dollars, that there might just be a federal prosecutor on the end of that bad decision. J.D. Vance on Telegram. Friday, April 3rd, 2026, President Donald Trump. Fake news has to change. When you can win in a landslide with 94% negative stories, there's something seriously wrong with the media. They're not reporting, they're propagandizing. Friday, April 3rd, 2026, we will not submit. RFK Jr. just rejected the United Nations Health Declaration. The declaration would mandate digital surveillance, give mega corporations direct policy control, and create interoperable tracking systems. Thank you, Secretary Kennedy. Nisara Jasara on Telegram. Friday, April 3rd, HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. just dropped a massive announcement. He's releasing brand new dietary guidelines that will ban ultra-processed foods, roll back restrictions on saturated fats, and completely overhaul what American soldiers and school children eat. Friday, April 3rd, Klaus Schwab says the world will no longer be run by superpowers like America. It will be run by the World Economic Forum stakeholders such as BlackRock and Bill Gates. Friday, April 3rd, Fox News. The White House Fraud Task Force has taken down its first target in California. Huge. The feds are here for a reason. California was giving out thousands of hospices licenses to people unqualified. No oversight, and of course taxpayers are paying for it ever since. Friday, April 3rd, CBS investigative journalist Catherine Herridge has gone public with explosive allegations. CBS executives deliberately buried the Hunter Biden laptop story and ordered her to wait until after the 2022 midterms to help the Democratic Party. Friday, April 3rd, 2026, breaking military alert. Military intel. War reset. Hegseth fires Army chief as Trump prepares final strike on Iran. Pentagon cleared for total victory. AMG News. Friday, April 3rd, breaking special report. The war in Iran isn't a distraction. It's a reset of the global power map with President Trump at the forefront. Video, AMG News. Friday, April 3rd, boom, Pentagon purge accelerates. Hegseth fires Biden-era top Army brass in 24 hours. War machine locked and loaded for victory, AMG News. Friday, April 3rd, exposed. The birth bond deception is real. $169 trillion bond scam. CUSIP coded at birth, branded by the system, and sold into global debt slavery. The great human fraud, AMG News. Friday, April 3rd, breaking alert. Army Specialist Caroline Stancic case raises serious questions. Lethal COVID vaccine cover-up allegations explode as Pentagon shakeup intensifies. Video, AMG News. And Friday, April 3rd, breaking. U.S. hero rescued after F-15E shot down over Iran. One U.S. pilot safe as search intensifies for second. Video, AMG News. Friday, April 3rd, Fox News. AG Pam Bondi reveals she fired 6 DOJ prosecutors in Minnesota because they no longer supported ICE and demanded taxpayers pay for a vacation. I fired them all. They're fired from the office. 6 prosecutors suddenly decided they don't like ICE. One did a photo shoot with the New York Times while ICE risked their lives. So they came, they said, we want to resign, but we want to use our annual leave up until April, meaning they wanted the taxpayers to pay for them to go on vacation because they decided they didn't want to support law enforcement. Friday, April 3rd, the Epstein Files gatekeeper has been removed. Pam Bondi is taking a new job in the private sector. DJT translation, she was fired. Why? 3.5 million Epstein documents released, 3 million documents withheld. She thought she could protect them. She thought she could hide the master ledger. She refused to prosecute the architects. She dismissed the charges against the elite. Trump gave her a choice: release the unredacted list or pack your bags. She chose the deep state. Look who replaces her: Todd Blanche, Trump's personal defense attorney, the man who knows exactly where the bodies are buried. The firewall is gone. The DOJ is fully secured. Those 3 million withheld documents, they are being unsealed. Panic in D.C., panic in Hollywood, panic on the private islands. The names you thought were untouchable are about to be exposed. COVID vax caused medical conditions and deaths. Friday, April 3rd, 2026, RFK Jr. just dragged the Pfizer death spike into the blinding light, leaving Bill Maher scrambling with the same scripted deflection that's kept the truth buried for years. RFK Jr. If you look at the studies of the Pfizer vaccine, the people who got the vaccine had a 23% higher death rate from all causes. Bill Maher. But that could be the disease itself. RFK Jr. Then the vaccine doesn't work, does it? When all-cause mortality climbs 23% in the jabbed group, the vaccine doesn't just fail, it proves the entire operation was never about saving lives, only about controlling the narrative from the shadows.
A Pfizer whistleblower who works inside the company has released these documents showing that they had received over 158,000 reports of adverse reactions from December 1, 2020 through February 28, 2021. Serious adverse reactions, spontaneous abortions. It is absolutely evil what these people have done. The FDA was well aware, and that is why they wanted these documents hidden for 75 years. Because it just proves that this was intentionally released, and they knew all along that it was going to cause massive heart attacks and strokes and deaths and infertility and miscarriages. I mean, it goes on and on and on. Neurological issues. The fact that this thing they call a vaccine is still on the market blows my mind, because they have removed vaccines where 10 cases of a child getting sick occurred. And so this is evil, intentional, and whoever is involved must be held accountable.
Friday, April 3rd, boom, Pfizer COVID documents released, data now public after legal battle. Project Odin martial law. In a major development around transparency, a large set of documents related to the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine has been released to the public following a court order that accelerated their disclosure timeline. Originally, regulators had proposed a much longer release schedule, but in 2022, a federal judge required the data to be made available much sooner. Since then, hundreds of thousands of pages have been gradually published, with additional material continuing to emerge. Among the most discussed reports is an early Pfizer safety summary covering the first 90 days of the vaccine rollout from December 2020 to February 2021. During that period, with millions of doses administered globally, the report documented tens of thousands of adverse event cases collected from multiple countries. The data includes reports of a wide range of reactions affecting different systems in the body. These reports span neurological symptoms, general physical reactions, musculoskeletal discomfort, gastrointestinal issues, and respiratory complications. Cases were recorded across various age groups, with some trends showing differences based on age and gender. Certain conditions, such as myocarditis and pericarditis, later became a focus of ongoing medical review and regulatory updates, particularly in younger populations. Health agencies in multiple countries have since adjusted guidance and labeling to reflect evolving safety monitoring. It is important to note that adverse event reports are part of pharma co-vigilance systems designed to track possible side effects, and they do not necessarily establish direct causation. These systems collect large volumes of data to detect patterns that may require further scientific investigation. The release of these documents has fueled ongoing public debate about vaccine safety, transparency, and decision-making during the pandemic. Supporters argue the disclosures strengthen accountability, while critics caution against misinterpretation of raw data without full clinical context. As more information becomes available, discussions around public health policy, risk communication, and regulatory oversight are expected to continue. Government fraud. Friday, April 3rd, USAID was the great front for over 60 years, funneling taxpayer dollars into numerous nefarious deep state operations. The State Department, the CIA, and the U.S. Institute of Peace all have one thing in common, and that's using taxpayer dollars for regime change operations through USAID, not only abroad in foreign countries, but right here at home, against American citizens and the President of the United States himself. Friday, April 3rd, 2026, JFK Jr. on Telegram. The money flown out of the Minneapolis airport by fraudsters has been tracked and used to purchase resorts in Kenya, apartment buildings in Nairobi, properties in Turkey, luxury homes, luxury cars, $790 million American tax dollars flown from Minnesota and sent overseas. And Friday, April 3rd, breaking: 4 people associated with a company that operates homeless shelters arrested in New York City after they reportedly paid out bribes to city leaders for kickbacks. Democrat New York City Council member Farrah Lewis and her sister Debbie Lewis, a top aide to Governor Kathy Hochul, are currently under investigation for reportedly taking bribes. Steve Bannon on Telegram.
Samity walked out of Brooklyn federal court in silence after his arraignment. He's one of 4 people now facing charges in a corruption investigation tied to the city-funded homeless shelter organization, Braggs. Federal prosecutors say Samity and another defendant, Ronald Jean Torellis, stole more than $1 million from the taxpayer-backed nonprofit. They now both face several charges, including wire fraud and embezzlement. The indictment unsealed Tuesday, drawing swift reaction from Mayor Zohran Mamdani.
We'll definitely be looking into these because any allegation, especially if it's being substantiated, of improper action and behavior is one that has to be followed up on.
Prosecutors say the shelter leaders steered contracts worth millions of dollars to favored vendors controlled by Eduardo St. Fort and Miguel Jorge in exchange for bribes and kickbacks. Jorge was also arraigned Tuesday. St. Fort will be arraigned at a later date. Both face program bribery and related charges. The indictment comes as investigators also probe whether City Council member Farrah Lewis and her sister Debbie Lewis, an aide to Governor Kathy Hochul, accepted bribes connected to city funding for the nonprofit, according to a search warrant viewed by the Associated Press. The sisters were not among those taken into custody. A spokesperson for the city council responding in a statement saying the council takes any potential misconduct extremely seriously. New Yorkers deserve confidence in their government. It is essential that the federal investigation proceed fairly and expeditiously to bring this matter to a resolution. Pix 11 News reached out to Councilmember Lewis's office for comment and is waiting to hear back.
The Rothschilds and Rockefellers have mastered a global scam allowing them to seize land, oil fields, and farms from nations without spending real money. They create fake bank accounts filled with billions in digital entries that lack any actual funds. These phantom payments are sent via the SWIFT system, appearing legitimate, prompting governments to sign over valuable assets in exchange. They target rich farmlands and mineral areas, fabricating huge credits. Officials hand over titles, but the money never materializes. This operation is rampant in Paraguay as of 2026. The families target rich farmlands and mineral areas, fabricating huge credits. Officials hand over titles, but the money never materializes. Paraguay loses critical soil for food production, while the elites profit from exported goods, leaving locals in hardship. The same deceptive tactics devastate countries across Africa and Latin America. Loans conjured from thin air through central bank tricks lead to insurmountable debts. When repayment fails, resource rights transfer to the cabal. Gold, oil, and agricultural lands flow out, enriching the few at the expense of the many. American patriots suffer the consequences as cheap resources from these thefts flood markets, harming U.S. farmers and miners. Supply chains stay under cabal influence, raising costs for domestic production. President Trump combats this vigorously with America First policies, securing energy independence and critical minerals while protecting jobs through strategic tariffs. Debt traps form the foundation of their strategy. Vulnerable nations receive phony credit, only to surrender assets upon default. Paraguay has lost massive territories this way, and Africa and Latin America face similar fates, turning sovereign lands into private elite domains. The Rockefellers' oil empire and Rothschild's banking prowess unite through offshore companies to hide their control. SWIFT enables the illusion of payment, allowing seamless asset grabs followed by unregulated operations that funnel wealth back to the families. Trump views this as an attack on sovereignty. His push to audit the Federal Reserve targets the root of fake money creation. By rebuilding American manufacturing and friendshoring, the nation breaks free from dependence on stolen foreign resources. This system grants permanent control with mere computer entries. Yet the Great Awakening accelerates. QAnons see the truth as white hats under Trump dismantle the deep state. Imminent exposures of these scams will lead to tribunals and the end of fiat tyranny. NSRE-like reforms loom, restoring power to the people. Globalist panic rises as nations awaken and reject the fraud. With Trump leading, the cabal's leverage crumbles. Resources return to rightful owners, and the New World Order falls. Patriots, the storm rages. Stay strong as victory and justice arrive for all.
Friday, April 3rd, Fox News bombshell. USPS caught a massive 2020 election fraud cover-up. Wisconsin, 100,000 plus ballots backdated. Arizona, 300,000 fraudulent. Michigan, 548,000 fraudulent. Georgia, 204,000 fraudulent. Pennsylvania, 121,000 fraudulent. Plus illegal cross-state ballot transport. Where was the DOJ? This changes everything. Who's ready for real investigations in 2026?
have spoken to you in previous transmissions about the waves of energy leading up to the event you call the solar flash. Those preparatory waves are indeed already reaching your planet at this time. We want to emphasize that you are now living in the time where the long-awaited solar flash is truly imminent. You have all been doing so much work to raise your consciousness and awaken spiritually. And as a collective, you have reached a level where this event can happen at any moment. When we say imminent, we mean it could be as soon as your next day or week, or it could still be a little further off in linear time. But the point is that it is no longer a far-off eventuality. The energies are ripe for it now. Your sun is poised as if waiting for the final cue from humanity. Any significant surge in the overall vibration of the human collective, such as a rapid increase in awakened individuals or a sudden collective heart opening, could be the catalyst that flips the switch, so to speak, and triggers this main event. Yes, you truly are that close to it. Because of how close you are, we feel it is of utmost importance to speak to you about preparing your physical bodies for this event. We have observed similar ascension events on other worlds, and we wish to share what we know, so that this shift can be as gentle as possible on your physical form. The solar flash will be an immense wave of energy, and the more you can raise the vibration of your body to meet that energy, the more smoothly you will integrate it and the more quickly you will recover after the wave passes. Now we are noticing that many of you have already begun to make changes to your diet and lifestyle in order to better align your bodies with these higher frequency energies. And this is wonderful to see. Taking care of your physical vessel will serve you very well. However, we also observe that there are still quite a few who could benefit from adjusting what you put into your bodies on a daily basis. One area we want to highlight is the cleansing of toxins and heavy metals from your system. There was a time when human bodies were burdened by an excess of heavy metals due to pollutants in your environment and your food supply. If the solar flash had occurred during that period, the interaction of those metals with an intense surge of solar light could have caused severe difficulties for many of you, even to the point of combustion in the most extreme cases. That potential timeline would have been disastrous, and it was wisely avoided. As the overall consciousness on Earth has risen, a great deal of those heavy metals and toxins have been cleared out or neutralized. This has happened partly through your collective efforts and intentions. Many of you have become aware of the need to detoxify your bodies, and you have been doing the hard work of cleansing yourselves. Even the Earth itself and your helpers in the higher realms have assisted in transmuting these substances. We want to commend all of you who have taken steps to purify your bodies. You have made it much safer for this event to occur. For those who have not yet considered a heavy metal detox or are new to this idea, it is not too late. We gently recommend looking into ways of clearing heavy metals and other impurities from your body in whatever manner feels right and safe for you. This might involve seeking guidance from a healthcare professional you trust, or doing your own research on natural detoxification methods. Even those of you who have done cleansing in the past might benefit from a short refresh now, as your bodies continue to accumulate some toxins from the environment. We are not giving you medical advice, but from our perspective, anything you can do to make your body cleaner and lighter will help you immensely in handling the energies of the solar flash.